I wanted to give a brief introduction to the Raspberry Pi and show you some cool things that you can do with it. Raspberry Pi is the tiniest computer in the world. It was designed over at Cambridge University originally as a way for kids to be able to afford a computer that might not otherwise have access to one. So what we have here are 2 rows of GPIO pins, and they're not actually pins on the zero, they're holes, but basically they're used for the same thing. It's to connect your Pi to things such as a servo to run a robot, or LEDs, or any number of things. Over here we have the SD card, and this one has 8 gigs, so it's basically the hard drive for your little computer. Then we have a mini HDMI to connect to a computer screen or TV. Then we have 2 micro USB ports. One is for data and one is for power. So this is a little hard to come by, this Zero. I checked 4 or 5 websites and they were out of stock, but they are only $5 when you can get them. Luckily, my coworker at MCM Electronics was gracious enough to give me one to play with. One really cool project I wanted to talk about today is this Raspberry Pi tablet. And this was actually made by my coworker Michael Castor. And it's quite a piece of art, really, how he combined the technology with woodworking. In his blog out here at magazine.com, he goes into details of how he created it. You should check it out. Over here at raspberrypi.org, Liz Upton did a write-up on it. And I believe it was even on the cover of Make magazine one month. So Michael loaned it to me for my little project. And here we have a battery pack, so it doesn't have to be plugged in. And the blue card is the video card. We have the Raspberry Pi. We have some USB ports over here. And I asked him what this little blue button was. And he said it's actually to dim or brighten the screen. And one thing he wants to add to his next version of this is to maybe put that on the outside. Because if he's on a plane and he goes to open this up, he said it's kind of startling, which I can see why. So I'm going to be using this for my little project. And this is kind of a hello world kind of project. If any of you are software developers, whenever you learn a new program, they always have this hello world. So it just means you're going to put hello world out on the screen, the easiest possible project. So this is a little stoplight, and it's just connected into the GPIO of the Raspberry Pi. And there's a Python program that's going to ping a website. And if it's running fast, it's going to show green. If it's slow, it's going to be yellow. And if it's really slow, it's going to show red. So here's the Pi that I like to use for my project. It's the Pi 2. And it has 1 gig of RAM. And here it is. We got the actual pins on the GPIO here, so you can plug into it. And over here we have a special kind of connection for a monitor. It has a ribbon cable. And then we have the mini USB for the power, HDMI to plug into a monitor or a TV set. We have audio. And if you want to hardwire it into the network, you've got a Cat5 connection, and I like to use the wireless. So one of these is a wireless card, and the other is for wireless mouse and keyboard. Then we have 2 other USB ports. And then down here we have the 8 gig SD card, which is the hard drive. So here I'm logged into my Pi, and Michael gave me a teeny weeny keyboard to use, but whenever possible I like to putty in to the Pi, or if I need the GUI, then you can use VNC. So the first thing I need is my IP address, and if you don't know it, you can type ifconfig, and there it's 192.168.2.189, and then click open. You get the login prompt. Okay, so my Python program is right here at the root. So if I type ls to get a listing, it's right there, website check.py. So to get into the editor, and there are different editors you can use for Raspbian. A common one is VI. It's too hard for me to learn, evidently, but I was learning computers when DOS was cool, so I tend to like nano. So you type sudo nano website check.py. And I feel kind of at home in here because there's a Control X to get out, and then it just asks you if you want to save it, and you say yes. So that's all there is to it. So the code, import requests and GPIO, these are libraries that we're going to be using for the project. So the GPIO allows you to control the GPIO ports. So red is 9, yellow is 10, green is 11, and these are the GPIO pins that the traffic light is plugged into. So then we're setting up the GPIO. We're setting up the red port is out, yellow is out, green is out, meaning that's the direction the signal is going. And then we're going to go into a loop to 10. So here we're setting the GPIO port 9 to false, which will turn the light off. So we're turning green, yellow, red off first for each iteration of the loop. Then we're using the request object to hit a website. We're going to mcmelectronics.com. And since the website is up and I can't take it down just for my little test, I am simulating the site going down by every iteration of this loop. I'm using the count multiplying times 2. So every time through this loop it's going to get a little slower, quote unquote. So the first time through it's going to be going fast, so print is going to print to the screen warp speed engage. I'm a Star Trek fan. And it's going to turn the green, which is 11, to true, so that's going to turn it on. And then if the count is greater than 1, less than 3, we're still green, 11 is true. Next time through, run a level 3 diagnostic, we're now yellow, and then we're yellow again, and finally when it gets to the slowest, the number 9 pin is going to be set to true, which is the red one. And for each iteration of the loop, we're going to sleep for 1 second. So that gives us a little pause so it doesn't go too fast. So next we will go out to the prompt and run the program. Okay, so time for the grand finale. We're going to run our program. So back at the prompt, I'm going to type ls to get a listing, and then sudo python 3 website check.py. And it's yellow, getting slower, slower, red alert. Okay. And there you go. There are things that I could add to my little project. If I want to hook up an amplifier and a speaker, I could make it play a sound or kick off an email. There are all kinds of cool things that you can do with the Raspberry Pi. And at Steamworks Labs, we partner with different companies in the Dayton area. And one of them is MCM Electronics down in Centerville. And here on the website, we have add-on boards. We have all kinds of gadgets that you can plug into your Pi. The Sense Hat here can plug different sensors into it, LCD screens, and we have some cameras here and GPS modules and all kinds of fun things. So pick up some cool stuff and bring it over to Steamworks and have some fun while you learn. Have a great day.